Awesome. So, dude, thank you for having us. Appreciate you taking time. Busy schedule. I know you're out there getting after it. So, we've got Father's Day coming up. So, we're just kind of chat about your new song, My Dad in His Truck, which is amazing, by the way. I love it.
Thanks.
It's big fan of what you do. And I'm,
It's one of my favorites. I don't even remember when I came up with the idea. I probably could look in my phone and find when I kind of wrote the original note.
yeah.
Kind of came up with the concept of comparing the two, right?
Yeah.
Um, through the use of, I guess it would be analogy, right? Or metaphor. I'm not sure like which of those terms best applies here, but, through that creative use of grammar, right? Like comparing my dad and his truck. And then so once I came up with that concept, I kind of started writing out some ways like maybe the two correlate, right?
Yeah.
Like grit, hard work, tough, and just kind of developed it from there. And
Yeah.
sat down with a couple friends of mine in Nashville and told them the song idea, and they were like, yeah, let's write that. And it really wrote itself. I mean, I swear it was a really fast write. They gave me kind of that creative freedom to just roll with it because they knew I was kind of feeling it and on it, and they helped me iron it out, and it just came out wonderful.
How does that work? Is it like you think of this idea, then you work backwards? Like with us in our videos, we try and think like, what's the concept, and then work back of how we get there.
Yeah, I mean, it really does vary because I think sometimes I'll be humming or playing a guitar or whatever, and I'll come up with a melody. I won't have any words or any inspiration for even where to go with it, but it's like, oh, that's pretty hooky,
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty good. And then so you kind of record a voice memo of it.
Yeah.
You kind of backtrack later on and you feel like, okay. And then you start thinking about lyrics, ideas for songs maybe that you've already come up with in the past and see if there's any that match up with that type of melody, right?
Yeah.
Like if I come up with a really upbeat and fun melody, I'm not going to write a sad song. You know what I mean? So immediately I can kind of disregard any like sad or life type lyrics.
Yeah.
We're going to lean more on the fun side. So, that's kind of my process. It's just, randomly coming up with ideas, randomly coming up with melodies, and then trying to marry the two together.
So is there like formulas for it? Because like when we design stuff, like this shirt, perfect example, this shirt did well for us, right?
Awesome shirt.
So it's like we'll take this as like a toss print of like, okay, let's take this Texas concept with deer, tacos, and the state of Texas, and then use this same formula and put it into something else to where you wouldn't really think they're the same, but the idea came from this, and now we've got a generic United States version or a generic fishing version, like you have concepts or formulas like that to be like, this worked, I'm going to do it.
Sure. I think you can, but I think also a lot of times in music, if you try to recreate something that you've already done, even if it's a little bit different, it's a little bit harder in my opinion. A great example of that is one of our most successful songs that I actually wrote it early on in our career is called She's Like Texas. And years later, excuse me, my band and I we were kind of like, man, we should make a record that is almost like the sequel to She's Like Texas, right? Like kind of the same type of songs, but write them now and us deliver them from a more experienced, mature perspective and because we're better, right? We're better at our craft. I would assume you feel like you're better at writing Burlebo than you were 7 years ago or whatever.
1,000,000%.
It's the same with any profession. It's the same in music, right? You get better as a writer, as a singer, as a musician, and so forth. And so,
I love that you said that, by the way. That's such a good segue of like musicians getting better.
Yeah, everyone feels like they get better. It's always the irony of doing this because a lot of times you break as an artist when you're young, and those are your most popular songs. And you might still make music the rest of your life, but people want to hear that original, that number one banger that you released when you were 25, but now you're 45 and it doesn't really relate anymore.
Yeah.
That's a big problem for musicians. They kind of have to swallow their pride and deliver that song with passion and energy and hope that their fans will still, dive in on the newer stuff because you're like, the newer stuff I'm writing is better.
Yeah.
More skilled. It's communicated better. But,
well, I think something your wife put this on Instagram, and I was about your new song, My Dad in His Truck, and I related so much to myself because I live my life like with my emotions on my sleeve, and my actions relate to that. And Taylor, I think when you put out My Dad in His Truck, she was like so proud of you for writing with your emotions, and that like that's actually how you feel, and it's your life that you're writing about, you know?
Yeah, I always try to be autobiographical in our songs. Going back to what I was saying though about the She's Like Texas thing, we wanted to kind of write another. So I started thinking like, okay, I want to write another song similar to this, right?
Yeah.
A song that's a little bit better and does the same thing and really compares this girl in Texas. So I ended up writing the girl down in Texas. And it's a great, cute song.
Love it.
In my opinion, it's a better song than She's Like Texas. It's not nearly as popular.
Yeah.
That's not even close. And so I think my original point was when you try to recreate the success of a song, it rarely works. Now, once it did work for me, actually, because the very beginning of our career, we had a song called Taste. And that was the song that kind of launched us on the college level, right? Like all the college kids in the, what year was that? Probably 2007 to 2009 range.
Yeah.
They loved that song, Taste. And so every college town we go to would sell out the place. And so a few years later, I ended up writing the sequel to it called Touch.
Yeah.
A very different song, but still kind of that like sexual, energy, but in a more mature lens and perspective, and not quite so brash.
For sure.
And not so quite on the nose with it. But, and that song actually did better for us than Taste. Had more success.
Love that.
So it is interesting.
For sure. Speaking of like college days and stuff like that, like how did Josh Abbott Band get off the ground? Like you go from and I've kind of heard from some other people, like I thought it was really cool. I heard that you were one of the fastest people to get on a tour bus and start making music and start making money in the industry, which I thought was really, really cool.
Yeah, I like to frame these conversations properly because when I talk about it, I don't mean this in a bragging way, right? It's just more of an honest, like, it was really crazy.
Yeah.
We blew up very fast.
Yeah.
We got popular extremely quick. And at that time, everyone was like, we've never seen an artist blow up this fast.
Yeah.
And we literally were in a bus making money within 3 years.
Yeah. And that's what I heard.
And most people would take 7 to 8.
Yeah.
We blew up big and quick. I've seen a lot of others that are bigger than us now, but it took them longer to get to that stage, right? But I will say this. I think since that happened, I think Coe surpassed me. I'd have to go look at like when he started making music and when he actually blew up. But man, Coe and Parker both, like they blew up to a level we've never seen before in Texas music. I mean, they are at a different level. And even before they got to that level, they surpassed where we were in a pretty short amount of time. So anyway, I'm spending way too much time talking about something random like that. But yeah, it was a wild, crazy deal. I started playing, the fast version of this is I started playing music in college just for fun, really.
Yeah.
And after I graduated, I kind of decided I'd stuck around for a job.
Yeah.
And then I decided to go to grad school. I put together a band with 3 of my fraternity brothers. One of them is still in the band now.
Love it.
Again, not like super big aspirations to ever be famous. Like it was like fun to joke about, but we were all still in college, right?
Yeah.
Still pursuing school. And it was basically a way for us to make some money. We'd play on Tuesday nights at the Blue Light. We'd play some fraternity and sorority gigs here and there.
And this is Lubbock, right?
Yeah, Lubbock. It's just a great way for us to make some extra cash. We're all making, maybe anywhere from $300 to $500 a gig each.
Yeah.
So for us, that was a big deal. And we had fun doing it, right? So then one of our songs, Taste, blew up, got super popular. And
this is when it's kind of a side gig still, right? Or
totally. Yeah, I'm in my last semester of grad school, spring 2008. And anyway, we just decided like, hey, I think we should pursue this. I think this is, I don't know how I had the foresight because I feel like I was so naive to this business, but somehow I had the foresight to be like, the momentum we seem to be having right now feels like there's a lot of people out there that would love to just buy this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right. And this has happened somehow organically. I think we should pursue this. And so we signed with a booking agent and got a little radio promoter and, jumped in a crappy Suburban, and eventually that led to a van. Eventually that led to a bus. But yeah, we started doing the thing, touring around, and we changed band members a few times over the last 15 years, but kind of just been doing the thing, and it's just hopefully continually growing.
Do you remember, besides Taste, what was like do you feel like a first big win, a momentum shift for you?
Well, I'd say She's Like Texas.
Yeah.
I think She's Like Texas took us to even like Taste was our introduction to Texas country. She's Like Texas was oh, wow, this is massive. Like, these guys are going to be big. And then we followed that up with Oh Tonight. And that ended up getting a little bit more of a regional, somewhat national look.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what took us again to the next level. So I think that little double whammy of She's Like Texas and Oh Tonight really just, came out of nowhere for people. And that was on our sophomore album, So just sheer luck, to be honest. I think there's a lot of factors that go into it. I'd tell everyone it's not talent. That doesn't mean I'm not saying I'm not talented, but like, if it was just up to talent, let me tell you, there are some musicians I know, some singers I know that would be world famous, but they're not. And because there's so much more at play, it's talent, it's timing, it's your team.
Yeah.
It's luck.
Yeah.
I mean, call it blessings, whatever you want to call that, that kind of mysterious element around how something develops or not. There's so many factors that go into it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it does take talent and skill and hard work for sure. No one just accidentally gets famous without like really putting work into it. Right?
Totally.
But there's other factors involved too. For sure.
Do you feel like when you had to mature pretty quickly to like take on the responsibility of having a song like Taste? And
yeah, and I think I'm not sure we handled that part very well. Really, I mean, I look back on, I think like, if we blew up now, I know how to handle it.
Yeah,
I really do. I know how to handle that with how we approach scheduling.
Yeah.
What we say yes to, what we say no to, how to act with media and press and around other people. That's not the stuff you're ready for when it happens.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a team of people around you helping guide and protect that and mentor you through it, I think that can be, a process that can be really hard for people. And so I think that I struggled with that personally looking back. Like, I wish I could redo those interviews that we did, in the first 5 years of our career when everything was blowing up. I really wish I could go back and handle myself differently on stage, off stage, on the bus, in my personal life. But, I think it's through those growing pains and errors and, idiot moments that you finally reach the version of yourself that you want to be.
Yeah.
You just have to learn from it.
It's like those unnecessary pains that end up making you who you are.
Sure.
Like, do you feel like people is something that people don't realize, like you being the artist and the lead singer, that you're also the leader of the company and the sailor of the ship, in the sense of like the good decisions come from you, the bad decisions come from you, in the sense of like, you're up there singing, but you're running the business at the same time.
Totally.
And people don't realize that.
I think that's an aspect a lot of artists struggle with too.
Yeah.
Especially if it's it's just like one of those deals where there's someone in the band or the lead singer or whoever, or the artist, who, you're more involved in just, you don't just show up and sing.
Yeah.
You do still have to like create, you still have to do like write, you have to network. But yeah, if you want to, maybe some artists don't care about the business side of things, but I always did. I cared about what our merch looked like.
Yeah.
What it looked like when it was set up, right? Like where we were on the billing of a festival. Like how big was our name compared to others that were on the festival? Where were we on the lineup? You know, I've always just cared about that stuff.
Yeah.
What shows we're going to play, where we're going to play, how we route it, what shows do we say yes to, what do we say no to, and so that has been a lot. It almost feels like two different jobs.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you have the weekday job of running the business and, you know, trying to make sure it goes the distance, and then on the weekends you got to show up and sing and be the entertainer. It's
Totally.
really two different hats.
Totally. Yeah, we struggle with that now with our growth of like in the early days, you would be singing. For me, my job would be packing orders, calling stores, like just trying to get in front of anybody because in the early days, nobody cared about us. You know, it was like, we're just another clothing company, another brand that may make it, may not, you know, probably a lot of people didn't think would make it because that's just not that anybody was rude or negative. That's just life,
Well,
you
it's
know?
a tough space.
Yeah. It's super competitive. And so it's having the foresight that we just have to keep pushing. And then now it's content creating and it's designing for the future and all the things you're talking about just in a different way is what, you know, I think that's what's so cool about the artist side of things or the NFL athlete side of things or like what I do. Like it's all the same. We're all just trying to build ourselves up and the companies that we have, and whether it's NFL athlete, country artist, like we're all in the same boat. We're just trying to network, be a good business person, make sure you're lined up successfully.
But at the same time, you know, be a good family member.
Absolutely.
You know, and a friend.
Yes.
You know,
absolutely.
Investing in others. You know, my responsibilities in life, you can hear them in the background now. My son Luck, my daughter Emery, my wife, you know, still want to, you know, be very present for them as I don't even have another stress or concern. They've always got to be priority one. So that's definitely shifted things. So it does make me glad that I was able to develop my business.
Yeah.
Before them, because I truly don't know if I could have done it with a wife and kids.
Yeah.
Right. Like from the beginning.
Yeah.
I don't know how you would do that because you would be so busy as a new artist. Like, I don't think you could make your personal life at home work.
I'd say it, and that's relates to any business, right? Like in the early days, you're going to do whatever it takes to be successful. The business is so selfish that it's like, hey, Josh, you got to go to Pensacola, Florida tomorrow. You're going to go because like, that's your opportunity to be, right? Yeah. Like, is that how it was?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Showing up. Hey, you got to do an interview at this time.
Yeah.
Like, oh man. You know, now it's like, well, I'm supposed to pick up my daughter from school and it's going to grab ice cream with her. Right. So it's like, you know, to the business world, the outside world, it's like, well, one of these is clearly a priority.
Totally.
This is more important. But I say to that, like, I actually think the core memory of me investing in my daughter as her like dad is way more important than this stupid meeting I'm going to have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
So I try to think of it very differently now. But as a young artist, as a new person, there's no way I would have thought that.
Yeah.
I've just been like doing this to, they can wait.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad for me. I waited in life to have that. Worked out for me to wait in life and have kids.
Yeah.
And that I didn't do it early on.
I think we were kind of in that middle segue of, I think it was like my kids are 5. So we were about halfway into our business where we are now, starting to have a family. And it was making a decision of like, do we hold off on family or do we continue to pursue what we're doing? Or do we just we can bring Luck in here.
Luck, come here. What you doing?
What you got, dude?
What's up, dude? What you doing? What were you doing outside?
I don't know.
You don't know? I think you do know. You're dirty. How'd you get dirty?
I don't know.
Did you play with the bugs?
Yes. Crazy bugs.
Crazy bugs?
I got one. Dirt on me.
You got dirt on you?
Yes.
Okay.
You find any roly polies? You find any roly polies?
Yes.
Yes. Can you say hi to my friend?
Hi.
Hey, did you have a birthday?
Yes.
Score. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
How old are you now?
I'm 3.
Yeah.
That a kid.
You're the best.
But it's just like, I mean, that's a perfect example of like me and my wife, we decided like we're not gonna shy away from family and business, and like we included the two as much as we could, like going to meetings and bringing our kids, or going to a market, or I go to work on the weekends sometimes just to make sure things are running smooth, and I bring my kids. And it's like, it's showing them, because I think it's also important for me, is like I want them to see what hard work is, but at the same time I don't want them to think that work is up here and they're down here. It's like it can all be done together, and it's like so important for them to learn that like balance and their importance is just as important as going to the office, or like every day I'm like, hey, I go to work and you go to school, like we're both going and doing things. And it's like explaining that like life and family and work and everything is like this equilibrium, that like you might take your daughter to eat ice cream instead of a meeting, because like that's what makes sense and that's what's important. It's like you can catch up on a meeting, but it's like
Totally.
like that you can't catch up with your kids.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I always think about it in terms, and it's kind of sad, but I always think about it in terms of like tragedy.
Yeah.
Like what would I be more upset about tomorrow if the interview that I was supposed to do isn't going to happen because that person, something happened to them or whatever, or I can't take my daughter to ice cream because something happened to her.
Yeah.
Which one would I be torn about? Right. So choose that path.
For sure. Anything big you're working on, or anything, you're under new management, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're getting you out there on the road, crushing it.
Yeah. We've gone through some changes recently, and, we have a new management group, which has been great. That energy kind of coming in.
Yeah.
It's not a knock on previous management. It's just like saying, like, anytime you welcome new blood into your organization, there's a different vibe. There's a different energy.
Yeah.
There's a fresh feeling about it.
Yeah.
And our new management company is awesome, and they are all in, and they've got such a great team of people. And so we're super fired up to be working with them.
Love that.
And, we're just hitting the road pretty hard this year. Our strategy this year has actually been to, play the right shows and try to make as much money as we can, because next year we want to play a lot more shows out all across the state, or all across the country, and even the world, hopefully.
That'd be awesome.
And anytime, you start doing that, you're taking chances, you're playing other parts of the country that you've never played before. So therefore you're building your brand again, right?
Yeah.
In these new markets. I'm sure there's some correlation with what you
Oh yeah, absolutely.
there's probably states where you're not maybe in stores yet. And so, it's exciting to be able to land in those stores, even though that the number is going to be pretty small.
Yeah.
So for us, that's what's going to be like touring. So next year, it's possible we don't make as much money touring because we're wanting to play a bunch of these places, right?
Yeah.
Maybe even open up for some bigger names across the country, but those slots, they don't pay as much, right? Because you're just the opener. So I think our goals this year, like, hey, we recorded a great album. We just released new music, My Dad in His Truck and Country Nights. Those two songs are so beeping, I don't want to cuss, so beeping awesome. These songs are so timeless.
They're good
to me. I love them. Hope they're a big part of our career.
Yeah.
And we've also recorded another album outside of those two songs.
Okay.
And we'll start trickling that out toward maybe later this year, and then that album will come out next year.
Okay.
And when that album comes out, we'll hopefully tour. We'll be touring nationwide. And so our goal for 2023 was to set up 2024.
I love that.
Dude,
it's amazing.
So prepare, make a great album, get your ducks in a row, get merch ordered, get a timeline of things, and stock up as much reserves as you can so that 2024 we can go do the thing and not be stressed or worried, right?
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah. So new markets for us, same thing. It's like we're so popular in Houston and Texas and Atlanta and Georgia and all of the southeastern states. For us, it's the same thing. But breaking into new markets just like that, it's like having a store in Colorado for us is super exciting because it's like we're able to spread brand awareness? Like, do y'all talk about brand awareness?
For sure.
Yeah.
We might not use it in those terms, right?
Yeah.
But it's the same concept.
Yeah.
Because you want people to know who you are as an artist, your songs, and when you're going to be touring there.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit different, obviously, in your world, right? Because you're not touring, but you want people to know, you want people to see your product, come look at it. I've never heard of this brand. This is cool. I'm gonna check them out online too. You know what I mean? I'm gonna rock this shirt. I love this shirt. Now I want like 7 of these shirts. That kind of vibe, right? So, it's all about that. It's the same for us. We want people to hear our music, share it, love it, get their friends listening to it. Oh, they're playing 45 minutes from here, 2 months from now. We should go to that show.
Yeah.
That's what we're hoping for.
I love that. I'm always curious how business resonates and segues from like you guys, because I don't think it's any different than what we do. It's like our brand is just clothes, and your brand is kick-ass songs.
I think a lot of businesses are, they really have a lot of similarity. I've always
super parallel.
Politicians and artists have kind of the same path, right? When you're first starting out and you're probably nobody, you got to network your butt off and you're making an appearance at everything, right? If you can be at whatever small town VFW to talk to 7 people, hoping that 3 of them might actually physically get out and vote for you, you're going to do it.
Yeah.
Right? Then you work your way up and you get a little more, fame and status with your name, a little more recognition. You work your way up. Next thing you know, you're running for higher offices. To me, it's the same in music.
Yeah.
You're playing shitty gigs at first and you're just working your way up to the next one.
What was a gig that you appreciated, but it's like, you got one? I'm sure you got plenty.
That I appreciated then, but didn't, that I don't
that
now.
You appreciate now, but at the time you're like, dude.
Man, I'm trying to think of a gig that I still would appreciate that was shitty, right?
Yeah.
Because now, you always definitely look at it like that bar didn't really know who we were.
Yeah.
And they paid us to come play a show.
Right.
And that's really cool of them to do that because that's their money. Right?
Yeah.
So you do appreciate it from a standpoint of like that. But there's definitely been some shows that you just like unbelievable. Like one time, I think that first year, 2008, when we were touring, it's our first time to ever play. This isn't the shitty show. This sets it up. So we played like on a Thursday or a Friday night or something like that in Fayetteville, Arkansas.
Okay.
It was awesome. We opened for, I don't want to screw this up. It was either Randy Rogers Band or Eli Young Band.
Okay.
It was one of those bands. We opened up for them. I'm pretty sure it was sold out. It was packed.
Okay.
Awesome show. Probably, I don't know what that meant. Probably 600 college kids, 700 college kids, whatever the place hold, but it was cool.
Sounds like a ton. Either way.
And the next day, though, was the Pay the Piper gig.
Okay.
Because, you open for Randy or Eli Young or whoever it was that we opened for that night in Arkansas. We were getting paid probably like $300.
Okay.
And I got to pay all my guys in my band. I got to make sure they make X amount per show. And then I'm covering gas to get there and hotels. So I'm out. I'm negative, right? I'm in the red on this show. So I got to get in the black. So the next day we played this private gig in Austin.
Okay.
And it was out at, I think it was like that Steiner Ranch area, that what's the UT golf club?
Yeah.
Is that what it's
called?
Yeah. And so we played like a private party out there. And, it was enough to we had to take that gig. It was like $1,500 or something. Okay. But man, we were so hungover driving from Fayetteville, Arkansas to Austin in a van. And we showed up and no one cared that we were there. My manager, my booking agent, he had set it up because he lives in Austin. He's not our manager anymore. He used to be. He's awesome. We're still friends. He had set the gig up. So he was like pumping us up. Like, man, everybody's super excited. Everybody knows y'all's songs. They're really fired up to hear y'all play. And so we're at least thinking, well, this will be cool. At least, because, we're still new. So it's cool. People know a couple of our songs.
Yeah.
It'll be fun, right? We show up. And this PA is super small. There's no stage. So we're just playing on the sidewalk. right? The drums are being set up on the sidewalk. We're all just sitting up there. And the guy comes up to introduce us, and he says, "Ladies and gentlemen, hey, everybody, we're going to get started here. Up next, what's y'all's names?" I said, Josh Abbott Band. Josh Abbott Band. You know, there were like 3 people clapping, you know. It's like 100 people there. No one cared. And we started playing, and it was brutal because we're all hungover and tired. And I think at one point, 2 of our guys, they were so hungry because I don't think we'd eaten all day. They like made plates at the buffet line, and they were eating during the song. Just so amateur hour. But there's a lot of those stories like that. A lot of those gigs. But also you look back on that, and that's the fun memories, right?
Right.
I'm sure you have like super fun memories of like trying to make the football team, or, you know, being the new guy, the young guy, and having to like earn your letter, earn your position, and having to prove yourself, and, you know, going through training camp in 2 days with your buddies. And it was like a grind.
Oh, totally.
Those years, like, you look back now and you probably laugh about it.
Oh, at the time, it's like, so Josh, I played football at UT. I had to walk on. I didn't make it a big deal.
No, I'm saying, like, it's awesome. You
thank you.
it. It's cool. You played
And
Division
so,
I football.
and so it's
Texas.
like,
That's a big
but
deal.
yes, at the time, I'm like, every day is the worst day of my life, especially in the early, and I say that so relatively. Obviously, it's not the worst day of my life because it was not. But when you're 19 and you're a tackling dummy because you're the new guy on the team, it's like, this ain't for me. This ain't for me.
Yeah.
But then you get to the locker room with your homies, you know, and it's like,
Did you ever have a Rudy moment where people in the stands like, Trey?
no.
No.
No Rudy moment. But you know, it's like those are the funny times now. It's like, dude, remember we used to like just get our heads knocked off by some guy that was.
And we ended up being in the NFL.
Yes, you know what I mean. And so it's like the same thing, or even like in business, like going to a show. I remember going to a show because we did the same thing. We would travel. We'd go to wholesale shows. I would set up a booth. Same thing, but different for like we'd go to meet stores. So just like how I met you, I would go do that at like a trade center and just set up a booth and try and get stores to buy our stuff. And so I would set up, and I mean, there'd be times that nobody cared about it. No, you know, I'm like sitting there like trying to shake hands, trying to say hello, and it's like same thing. Nobody cared.
I do know what you mean. I
Yeah.
have a picture of us making a Hastings appearance. Now, this is when CDs were still selling. So this is like 2008. I'm pretty sure is when we released. It was either 2008 or 2010. It was one of those years, but I'm pretty sure it was 2008. We released our album Scapegoat that fall. And again, we were told like, hey, you know, we're going to go make an appearance at these different Hastings because they've agreed to like carry all CD and
Can I
sell
ask what Hastings is?
Okay, so great, yeah, exactly. It just shows how much the industry changed. Hastings was a music store that you could go buy CDs at,
Okay.
and movies and all sorts of stuff. And so this is a big deal.
Yeah.
Hastings all across the state. So we made appearances at different ones, and sometimes it was cool. We had people show up,
Yeah.
mostly college kids, right? So that's all that listened to us. We showed up to the Hastings, and I want to say it was College Station, but I really don't remember. I could be wrong. There's a picture of us sitting there at the entrance with like a sign that's like, you know, Josh Abbott Band, new signing albums today. There's no one. We're all sitting there like this, just waiting on someone to come through the doors and actually want our album and to sign it. Now, I'm not sure we signed one record that day. And I know what you mean. I'll
Yeah.
have to send you the pic, and you can like include it with the promo and
Yeah,
stuff.
dude, I love it.
Here's the pic Josh is talking about.
Those are the best times now, the worst times then. I think about it all the time of like going to a market and not selling a single thing and it costing us like $5,000 to get there.
You spent money to be a part of it. You spent time and energy. That's a lot of resources.
And it's like, then, you know, it's like, man, is this really going to, really going to happen? Sinks in or like creeps in, you know what I mean? It's like nobody, and luckily, like we were, like with you guys, it's like, I think we were lucky enough to have like enough success early on to where it's like it kept us going, as opposed to like too many no's. Like, I don't know if y'all heard a lot of no's. Like, it's like, hey, we're trying to get a record deal. No, y'all aren't there yet. Or like for us, it's like, hey, we're trying to get into this store. It's like, not ready for, you don't have enough credibility. Yeah, that's what we always heard. And I don't know if it's any different for you guys or not.
I mean, it's definitely a lot of no's.
Yeah.
Definitely not a lot of, you guys aren't ready to headline yet. We're not sure about this yet. We're not sure about this yet. I think one of the biggest, what would I call it? Like a, not misnomer, but like people in the music industry, there's people that think that they're at record labels and they think that they're experts at picking out the next big star.
Yeah.
Right? And they're like, but they're hitting 5% of the time, right? I mean, they'll sign however many bands, and then some of them, the laws of, the law of averages will say that some of them are going to work out. So they get lucky, and it makes them think that they know what they're talking about. So I've actually turned this into some sort of advice for any young artist out there. Like, just because someone tells you no, it doesn't mean that you don't have talent. It doesn't mean that you aren't a star in the making. It means they don't see it in you, which means they're not the person for you, right? And it means you still have more, you still need to grow.
For sure.
So take that as positive feedback and be like, this person at the record label says that I'm not in a position yet where they want to sign me. So now my goal is two things: to get better, and then to sign with someone else and prove them wrong that they should.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Dude, you have to be able to keep going. I think that was my point I was trying to get to, is like, we heard no's, and it was like this awkward, tough thing of like, like when you're like, hey, we're ready to headline. It's like, no, not yet. And it's like the same thing for us. It's like, hey, we're literally looking in stores' faces, and it's like, hey, can you give us a chance? And it's like, I don't think so. I don't think our customers are ready for it yet. And and it's like, dude, it's so hard, but in the same time, it's like, it's so beneficial to hear that, because that's what feels good now. Like, we just had a store, one of my salespeople texted us in our group and was like, hey, this store ordered this amount, and it was a huge amount. And it was like, I remember being in Dallas at the Dallas trade show, begging that store that just ordered a huge amount to not drop us. Because the store was like, hey, we can't carry you anymore. It's not selling. And I begged them. I said, please, like, it's going to work. I promise you. And the buyer.
And now it works.
And now they're maybe a top like 20 account for us or something like that. And it was me just pleading with them not to drop us. Them saying, okay, well, we'll give you to a different buyer, because they didn't want the responsibility anymore. And then we were able to make it work after that. And so it's like, those are the same stories that like everybody should hear and feel, because it's like, you don't want to quit or give up because you're an artist and somebody tells you no, or you have an idea and somebody tells you no. It's like, you've just got growing to do. You're not ready, and your time will come if you stick with it.
You asked me when it started taking off for me. Do you feel like it started taking off for y'all when you started taking your shirt off more?
No,
It's for me.
Is that how we?
That's how I saw.
That's how we got you.
Look at his abs.
Dude, I
I
knew
knew the shirt that he's not wearing.
I knew that's how we got you to start wearing our stuff.
For y'all watching this, this is my dude right here, and I just always haze him because he posts pictures working out. But I mean, honestly, if I had the abs you had, I would too, all the time.
We sell shorts too.
Yeah.
But is that a real question? When did we start?
That was a good question, wasn't it? That's a good moment. It probably flipped for you. When?
I think
in the last 3 years.
Yeah, it took us. So we're celebrating 8 years in August. It took us probably 4 years. I'd say 4 years to gain momentum. Some. Year 5, it was like, okay, this is good.
Yeah.
Like in our first, I mean, it's so tough for us too, because in the early years, like you're saying, your craft got a whole lot better, your songs got a whole lot better. Our stuff got so exponentially better.
Right.
That's a huge part of
Your
it.
numbers probably got better because you're ordering more
I mean,
quantity.
what people, I say this all the time, and I don't know if people really hear it. We started off with Comfort Colors t-shirts, that a shirt you can go buy blank anywhere in the whole world, and I cut the tag out, and it would get a Burlebo tag sewn in by my wife's grandmother or these ladies in North Austin. I would drive it in the same pickup truck I have now to a screen printer, stand there and watch them screen print it, and then I would take a picture with my phone or something, get it on our website, start shipping it out, tag it, and fold it. So I mean, it was every single aspect you can imagine.
You're so glad you're not having to do that.
Oh man, it's like that's what's so crazy is like in our first year of business, it was like, man, we maybe had like 200 orders total, over like a year, which is not very many. Like 200 could sound like a lot. I mean, we're lucky enough to where, we'll have 200 orders sometimes before like noon, which is a blessing. And that's not like a brag. I hope that's okay to even say, but it's like, it's just so different than what it was. And it's like the early days, it was so tough to where it taught me so much. I'm sure it taught you a whole lot too, of like, if I can get this off the ground, I know that we can be better, and I know that we can like have momentum, because like if I can make this work, I can make this work and like this work and shorts and stuff like that. So it was, I'd say year 4 is when we started really getting some momentum, of people like saw it more, because that's the thing. It's like our space is so competitive. There's so many brands out there. It's like, oh, like it's just another brand. Who cares? And so,
But what you're doing with the camo patterns and all that stuff is so dope.
thank you. And so for us now, 8 years later, we just have so much more confidence in what we do now. In year 4, it was like, hey, I need to design something that Josh would wear. Not now I design something that I know is going to be good, that I love and fits well, and that other people will love, as opposed to before. I mean, in our first year, we did like a sailing t-shirt because I thought people were buying sailing stuff because of Vineyard Vines and preppy stuff. It's like, you
didn't know what your product was.
No, I thought we were creating something that I thought would sell, as opposed to something I believed in. That was a big difference for us. Like, I believe in fun button-ups like this, and shorts that I can wear all the time, and fun camo pattern that's old school and retro. Like, that's what I believe in, because that's what I love. But if I was creating a sailing hoodie now, it'd be like, it just wouldn't be true to who I am, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's a big difference. I think that was really when we started seeing a big shift, as we started making stuff that made sense to the brand and myself and like the lifestyle. So shirtless did help though.
Yeah, I had to though. Had to.
You want to tell us a little bit more about the song with your dad and what your dad, like, so your dad passed away a couple years ago, right?
My dad passed away 6 years ago.
Okay.
Crazy that it's been 6 years. But yeah, he passed away in March of 2017. And we had my daughter in May of 2017. So he just missed getting to meet my kids.
Yes.
So, sorry. Anyway, my son Luck was born in 2020. So our kids were born in 2 of the hardest years of my life, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, our daughter was born in 2017. I lost my dad, had our daughter, got engaged, and not that was hard, but it was like a big year.
Yeah, totally.
We had a new record out. We were, there's a lot I really don't want to get into, but there's some really tough moments in that year.
Yeah.
Really life-changing moments. Honestly, I truly believe I'll look back one day at my 2017 year and be like, it was a massive change in how I approached life moving forward, because I lost my dad, had a daughter, we got engaged. And my band and I were in Vegas for the Route 91 festival that was the mass shooter at. And I don't really want to get into that, but luckily everyone in our band and crew and everybody, no one got hit. Yeah, it doesn't mean that there weren't, emotional
Totally.
scars there and, something to overcome with mental health and stuff. But, my band, I'm just really fortunate that everybody got out. But anyway, that was a huge year for me. And then all of a sudden, 2020, 3 years later, we go to have our son. Of course, the world shuts down. I get off tour.
Yeah.
Which is kind of nice. But then all of a sudden, we're, I don't say broke, but
But that's how you make
no income.
Yeah, that's how you make a living.
And then it's like you start to worry about the world. Like, oh my God, like, what does this even mean?
Yeah.
And then the riots and the election, it was like, God bless. 2020 was a circus year, and that was the year we decided to have a kid.
Yeah.
So anyway, I wish my dad would have gotten to meet my son because his name's Luck David.
Yeah.
And he gets his middle name from me and my dad. Both of our middle names were David. So he gets that. He gets to carry on that little torch and tradition.
Love that.
I know my dad would have just loved him so stinking much, both of them. But I wrote this song about my dad. He was a pastor my whole life, but in high school, he kind of shifted more working full-time in woodworks.
Okay.
So he was in construction. He was a supervisor for a home construction company for a while, and ended up branching out his own, having a cabinet woodworks business, and was outstanding at it. Not just saying that because he's my dad, but like everyone in the area was like, yeah, your dad's literally one of the best. All the builders, when they did their homes, they asked my dad to do their cabinets. He's just awesome at it. I don't know how he was so good at it. And I did not learn that craft, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't do that. But he was awesome, and he worked hard for what he had. And he didn't have a lot. Being a pastor and being a cabinet maker, it's not like we were financially blessed. We were times were really lean and hard most of the time. But he had such a great attitude about it and such a positive Christian influence on me in my life. And so, becoming a father, you start to really look back on those moments and appreciate them from a different perspective. And so I wanted to write a song that would honor him and his toughness and his grit and his work ethic. And so decided to compare him to the truck that, that I knew him, like it was synonymous with him.
Yeah.
My dad, he had this 95 F-150. It was the first brand new truck he ever got in his entire life. He got it obviously in 95, and it was a huge deal for him. He ended up giving me that truck in college. So it's a truck I ended up having for a long time. And then he switched over to a yellow truck, and then everyone knew him because he had a yellow truck, which is super odd, but he liked it because it drew attention to it, and he had his little logo on the side, So anyway, all I hear and see is him and his truck when I play this song. I cry most of the time when I play this song, but I will try not to cry today when I play it because, it's a lot better when I can get through the song without getting emotional, but it really means a lot to me. I've had a ton of fans reach out to me and say, man, I know you wrote that about your dad, but like that song reminds me of my dad so much. Like, they'll describe to me like his pickup that he had, and and then one day, I hope that this little guy thinks the same thing about me and my green truck. You saw it in the driveway. I got a 2010 F-250. I love it.
Yeah,
it's 13 years old now. It is paid off. It's only got 140,000 miles on it. So like
You be dancing.
What?
You be Gorilla.
You want me to be Bowser? He wants me. This is how we play right now because Mario Brothers, the movie. Just
you saw it.
So he likes to be Mario. He wants me.
Gorilla.
You want me to be the gorilla or Bowser?
Gorilla.
The gorilla. Woo, woo.
For me, Gorilla.
Well, I got to talk. Why don't you do it in here? No. Keep that open.
We're almost done, buddy. We're so close to being
Got to keep it open.
We're almost done, buddy. I love it. That's awesome. My kids just went and saw that movie too.
He's obsessed.
Yeah.
We already bought it. I just spent the $30.
We did. That's how we saw it. Yeah.
On Apple or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just like, I mean.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Great movie.
The convenience of having it on the TV is worth it.
What would it cost for us to go watch it at the movie theater?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, same thing. But Yeah, so that's the song. Hopefully one day my kid thinks of me and my green truck.
I love that.
Yeah.
Dude, absolutely.
And hopefully he's smarter than I was and doesn't ever get rid of that truck, because I sold my dad's red truck in 2010. So, he gave it to me probably 2003 or 4. And then I had it till 2010. And when I moved to Austin, I sold it and got rid of it. And I still to this day regret it. My goal one day is to like track it down and find it.
Yeah.
Buy it back. It's probably only worth, probably didn't even run now. It's probably $500 or $1,000, but it'd be cool to get it and like maybe get it working again.
Dude, I love that. Yeah. I always joke with my wife about my black truck is that was the first thing, because I didn't grow up with money either. Like when we started this business, it was everything we had all in. I had never had money. And so my truck I bought, that was the first nice thing I ever bought, because I got a job and all that. And so it's like, it's paid off.
That's your truck.
I've had it for, I'm at like 220,000 miles. And
I've been driving more.
because that's been everywhere with me work wise. And it's, I joke with my wife about how my daughters are going to drive that to school one day. I don't know if that'll really happen or not.
Keep it on forever.
But
It's a diesel.
yeah.
I mean, I'll put at least 500,000 miles on it.
Yeah.
And I'm only averaging 10,000 miles a year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you think about it,
Yeah,
it's technically that truck should last 50 years. Now, it might not, but we're gonna get a run out of it.
Yeah. But I joke that like our kids are gonna end up driving that truck to school. So, but I'll probably keep it and hopefully keep it rolling, and we'll see.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, I don't know when this will air, but before Father's Day, after Father's Day, whatever. Happy Father's Day to all the good ones out there.
Yeah, we're gonna put it out on Father's Day.
On Father's Day.
Yeah.
Sunday.
We're gonna get it cut. That's why this was perfect timing. Father's Day coming up. You've got this awesome song about your dad, kind of relates to Father's Day. So
yeah,
that's why we're so lucky that this ended up working with our schedules. So, dude, you wanna play it for us?
Yeah,
Dude, thank you.
They'd start before the sunrise. When me and Mom were still asleep. Fueled up on a lit 87 and coffee down the street. Wherever the work would take them, yeah, that's where they would go. Never let anyone steer them wrong, they just hit it on down the road. Always towing a heavy load. And they would run till the day was done, like a cowboy and his horse. And all those years grinding the gears, they don't make them like that no more. Strong and steady and always ready to go when you fire them up. Both built American tough, my dad and his truck. Taught me how to get through life, when to gas and when to brake, how to keep it between the lines in the rain, how to handle the give and take. And that rust red short bed pickup, no stranger was ever stuck. My old man couldn't help but help anyone down on their luck. The kind of count on you can trust. They would run till the day was done, like a cowboy and his horse. All those years grinding the gears, they don't make them like that no more. Strong and steady and always ready to go when you fired them up. Both built American tough, my dad and his truck. Oh, and those bench seat conversations are the ones I've been missing. What I wouldn't give to just go back one more time, sit and listen. Amen. And they would run till the day was done, like a cowboy and his horse. all those years grinding the gears, they don't make them like that no more. Strong and steady and always ready to go when you fired them up. Both built American tough, the kind of count on you can trust. Yeah, both built American tough, my dad and his truck. Yeah, my dad and his truck.